Hi, today our agenda is on the following. First, we look at tools and trends for e-learning. So everyone presented their project and post a PowerPoint at the project posting site. So you can go to tools and trends and post yours as well here. Then next, we look at different way to avoid making mistakes on PowerPoint. This is an excellent slideshow looking at different web design or PowerPoint design principles. And I also share my PowerPoint on how to conduct effective web design using universal design principles into your learning project. Next, let's go back to the agenda. We also there's a video for self-paced viewing, a recording by David Amore, who presented on visual communication in e-learning at the Digital Learning Forum, which is a very good presentation, a lot of useful information. Then we move on to look at different way to enhance our e-learning project looking at way to provide good narratives for your project. And Julie Durkin has presented this 3-act structure to write your story. So make sure you go through her PowerPoint, and basically you want to have a hero, a goal, and a problem, and then provide a 3-act structure where there will be a normal world and things get worse, and the climax, and how do you bring things back to normal. So providing training scenario in a 3-act story. So here we used a tool called Cargo to do the storyboard. So again, this is a free concept map, mind map tool. Talk about I use my evaluation lecture on how I will enhance it. But there's a template that you can use to develop your own story. So you want to have a protagonist and antagonist, and the protagonist will have a goal and a weakness that need to be improved. That's why we go to training. So in e-learning, it's the same. What were the weaknesses that this person need to be improved? What are the skills need to be acquired? And then there's opposing goal. There's always opposing force to prevent we do the learning properly, or obstacles or challenges in a way. So what are the 3 acts that? So you come up with your own scenario. And here's my sample. I have used my evaluation in order to teach Smith and Reagan's model of doing evaluation. I come up with this scenario. So go through this slowly at your own pace. And in designing that storyline, I also wrote these objectives and what are the tasks the learner need to do, and then what are the objectives to help accomplishing the task, and what are the strategies that to help carry out the objectives, and then work with assessment. So this is based on a design grid. Working on instructional design, and I'm just taking one small part in my original lecture on evaluation. Let me go back to that part. Okay, during the break, I sent this evaluation lecture to all of you, and I introduced different models, different tools to do e-learning. So, and there are different models of conducting e-learning evaluation. So in explaining Smith and Reagan's approach, instead of doing a straight lecture, we can use a storyline similar to this to convey the message of the training, which will be more engaging. And this is also the trend in the industry now. We want to present engaging training to engage learners, not boring lectures. Okay, so moving along, And you can watch the tutorial 1 or 2 for the tool Cargoit to learn more about the tool. It's very simple. So the tutorial together is about 3 or 4 minutes, and you will know how to use it. So the exercise will just create your own example of 3-act narrative using this template here. So you create your own based on this template. All right, so and then we finished creating stories for our training. Next, there are a few more examples from, for example, Airline Interactions. They have a lot of excellent e-learning examples that we should take a good look on how people can learn from these excellent examples. Like in this one, there are different scenarios, and to train people to work with patients who need to watch their weight, you can go through different way to communicate with patients, and then you will see there's a motivation meter indicating if you say things that jive with the patient or the right manner. So if you say the right thing, maybe the motivation meter will go up. And then, so this is a way to train trainer how to work with patients. So there are lots of good examples. Take a look. Next, Articulate Storylines is a new tool that has a lot of excellent scenario-based learning, like this one, social media guidelines. It could have been a straight bullet points training, but in these examples, they use a very personalized avatar to provide a training. So you go through the story and learning what are the responsibilities and proper way to use social media in organization. And even the quizzes is scenario based. It's not very boring, just multiple choices. So take a look at this one, different examples of doing scenario based learning. And then we dive into immersive learning using virtual world. I have a PowerPoint on how presenting different cases and on how virtual world has been used in organizations. So browse through the PowerPoint. Basically, we went through different examples of how to use virtual world for simulation, demonstration, virtual meetings. So in each slide, you see the URL. Then you can copy and paste to Second Life to access different world. For example, if I'm going to log into Second Life, and so in order to go to the Exploratorium, I copy the URL, copy, and then paste it to the bookmark, or we call it landmark in Second Life, to access the site. So I'm just paste the address here and then hit enter on the keyboard. So it will take me to this site. So there's different way to explore virtual world. And okay, there's a streaming audio. You can turn it off from using the upper right corner to turn off the streaming video or audio. Sorry. Finally, so there was our last exercise. We spent roughly 2 hours on virtual world, exploring different possibilities, and then we have a review of remaining chapters in the textbook. So we review all the principles, and from there we'll look forward to how do we incorporate all these principles into learning. So this is a quick summary of the textbook on the key highlight, and then that we conclude the course. So the assignments are written in the assignment page. That will be what's required to complete this course. And if you have any question, please feel free to email me. Okay, in the resource page, I also have added a few new resources. For example, the demo courses from Airline Interactions and Articulate Storylines. Also, the Cargoit concept mapping tool, and PowerPoint. How do you design good PowerPoint? And the narrative technique by Julie Durkin from Learning Solutions conference presentation. These are excellent links to visit. And I also add a few sites for virtual world learning. What's Second Life? There's a quick start guide and a tutorial. If you want more information after viewing the PowerPoints, we have listed a few references. If you want to learn more, read my research article, I'll be happy to share that with you too. And there are a few conferences I highly recommend: the Learning Solutions by eLearning Guild, the Performance Improvement Conference, or Sloan International Conference on Online Learning. These are all wonderful conferences to go. And then here's one example on the final project. This person created 3 modules, and this is a design document. It also contains a storyboard. Okay, good luck.